I'm going to continue on here today with what was extremely neat filming that was done on New Year's Day.
Are there any Chico State people that are out here on the streets?
Any Chico State people, like college students?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've met quite a few.
I'm a Butte College student, and I'm out here.
You know, I've met, there was a brother a few years ago that came through, and he was very intelligent. His name was Poppy, you know, and he actually was one of the smartest people I know, and he would kick it out of here, and he'd drink and do his thing, but he was harmless. Like, he would never hurt a fly, you know, and he would just sit and drink and read his books, you know what I mean, and play his music, and, like, we do that. Like, we'll drink, and we'll play our music, we'll have our little smoke sessions in circles. And
you can go from homeless to Harvard. You can also go from Harvard to homeless.
Exactly.
Fast as shit. I know that everybody uses this horrible economy as an excuse. I can work. I know I can work. I've held more than one job in my life. But everybody needs money to live, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
This world runs on money. And in order to live, in order to eat, in order to thrive, in order to reproduce, you've got to have money. And right now there's not a whole lot of money out here like that. It's Chico, it's a small town. And a lot of the money comes from school funding, FAFSA, college kids, Chico State college kids, they get funded through their parents. Their parents fund them. So they take that for granted, and then when they end up with no funding from their parents, or their parents don't want to fund them anymore, then they go from Harvard to homeless, because they've always depended on that sort of system.
I did nearly 30 minutes of moving images and audio that day down there in downtown Chico. And today we're going to wrap up Don's extensive insights, including some dry, witty humor.
One of the jokes of the Tahoe Reader, the newspaper I published that went around town, was the only way to get your picture on the cover of the Tahoe Reader is to sleep with the publisher. So I was very proud of that, considering all the covers we have. I'm lost out here. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I think that's a characteristic of most of the homeless people I meet, that to some degree they're lost, to some degree they're broken. I'm not saying to what degree. There's a lot of mental illness out here. It's heartbreaking to see so many war veterans who, at the very least, they're depressed, and for most they're living with tremendous PTSD decades after they fought battle. And then there are all the young vets who are in their early 20s. Gosh, that's more heartbreaking to me than seeing kids out here homeless.
So you've seen a lot of that out here and at the Tories, the veterans, or seen some of it?
I don't want to say that about the Tories because that breaks confidentiality, but out on the street I've seen it enough.
Yeah.
You know, guys who've just gotten back from Afghanistan and served time in Iraq. And they're in their early 20s. And they're lost. They're just lost. Many of them can't find work because there just isn't much work. We all know that. And most of them don't have a whole lot of skill because they went from high school to war. A pretty well-run place, considering that they deal with up to nearly 100 individual people who, like me, have their own stories in dormitory setting, bunk beds. It's remarkably well run. I have no complaints. Don't ask me about the Jesus Center.
We also hear more from Myrtle and Veronica as they share more of their experiences here in Chico, being long-term homeless.
And I just think that, like, we're not here to harm anybody. We feed each other. We live together. I remember when I first moved to Chico, like when I first came to Chico, like, I used to, like, save peanut butter jars and make soup and bring it downtown, like Food Not Bombs does in the Bay, and feed people down here. We care.
We give back more than people that aren't homeless give back. Because we know what it feels like.
I've seen homeless people, I've seen, like, a dude hit a chick, like, downtown partying, and nobody else around the bars, out in front of the bars on Main, did anything. And I saw 4 homeless kids get up off the street and beat this dude down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, really,
I could see that.
We're real protective.
You stick together, man.
You know, and this wasn't anybody we knew. It was like a random, you know, dude in a bar arguing with his chick and hit her, and these kids beat him down. We don't really I don't really see where this whole like we're threatening thing comes from. I understand sometimes you get most people that come through that are like that are from other cities. You know what I mean? Like most of the kids that are here and have been here for a long time and living out here, you know, we have a certain respect, a certain code, a certain way we do things. But there's kids that come from other cities and other states that are just traveling through who aggressively panhandle or like they get offended and beat people up and things of that sort. But as far as like people that are Chiconians, like people that have been here for a while or what you would call locals, I don't really think that we're violent. I don't really think that, you know, we deserve to be like labeled as something that's a threat to the community.
And tomorrow I'm looking forward to editing a little piece where Marshall describes in quite enlightening detail with a few chuckles of how he came to live in such a fair city as Chico, California.
How I came to Chico, and I told him pretty much I was traveling with a friend and she was supposed to go get a school bus from down in Florida, so we stayed up in Scranton with her brother, and he was a dickhead. So me and my other friend decided, well, let's hitchhike, and we made it to Chico in 4 days with actually we stopped in St. Louis because this actually Puerto Rican family saw us thumbing it, and Carlos is Mexican, so and he's got blue eyes or whatever. She's like, oh no, Poppy, you gotta come with us. Come with us. So they took us back to their house, so we kicked with them for a few days, and they tried to get us to stay, but I'm like, no, we gotta go on the road. We ended up picking up this pregnant girlie, and yeah, she's a pregnant raver chick, and we were at the mall. And she was going through this weird ordeal. I guess she was pregnant. She was showing a little raver girly, and she heard us saying we were hitchhiking to California. So we ended up picking her up because I guess her mom was trying to take her baby and sell it to a rich couple. You know what I mean? So we felt sorry for her. So we went to Reno, stayed there for a day, and we had this weird experience where it started hailing and the roads were all iced over. So we were at this truck stop, and this Arab guy ends up picking us up, and he goes, are you together? And I'm like, well, I guess kind of, you know what I mean? So we took her on, and Carlos was kind of salty about the whole thing because he's like, this is our trip, you know what I mean? And we're having to feed this chick and all this other stuff. So pretty much this Arab guy gets us a hotel room from the truck stop, and he goes, it was the weirdest thing. He goes and gets us a hotel room. He goes, you know why I do this for you? And I'm like, why? And he's Muslim. Well, he said because of her, but he goes, you're a black man, and they call you a nigger in this country. He goes, with me, I'm an immigrant, and I'm a nigger too to Caucasians. You know what I mean? That's the way he viewed it. But he got us the room.
Later, guys.
So it was a cool ordeal. He came up to the room with us for a second, and I grew up my mother. My little brother's father is Islamic, so I could relate to him. We grew up in the Islamic community for 5 or 6 years in Atlanta, Georgia, and the whole community was owned by the mosque. By the mosque, the imam owned all the community was owned by the mosque, pretty much. They call the azan over loudspeaker, which is the call to prayer to salat. And
Orthodox or traditional?
So they were Sunni.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I could relate to it, you know what I mean? I could relate to him, and he could relate to me. So he comes to the room, and he wanted to hear us play some music because we had guitars, so we played some music, and then he left. And then the next morning, we ended up getting a ride from this Rasta dude, and he's like, wait, dude, we gotta go. And this is all on the way to this gathering, pretty much. This Rasta dude picks us up, and he's like, I gotta stop at my house and grab some pot. So he takes us into California, and we smoke out with this kid, and then this other kid that just got back from Germany picks us up in his VW bus and drops us off in Chico. Mm-hmm. Drops us off in Chico. So we stopped, and I had my MFM radio on, and we were actually going to keep hitchhiking. And I came here, and it was so beautiful. It was 420, So I heard that they were having an Earth Day festival here, and it was actually right here in the same park we're sitting at right now. And I thought it was just so beautiful, and the people were so warm, and it was so nice that I just stayed. I mean, and I stayed.
You like it here, man? I can tell.
I do. I love it here.
Enjoy, and remember, if you have a bloody roof, be grateful.
If some person doesn't come along that you show this to and says, I want to fuck this guy. Anyway, social services.
I can't guarantee you that.